It has been a long day for us. We had the 11th Governing Council meeting today at Rashtrapati Bhavan. And as you know, our Governing Council is one of the most powerful congregation of men and women from the country. Is the Prime Minister as chairman, and the Governing Council members are the Chief Ministers of States, Lieutenant Governors and Administrators. Today we are happy to tell you that the Chief Ministers of all the 28 states were present, and we benefited from their insightful comments. The Prime Minister spoke at length. We started around 10 o'clock in the morning, and we saw the Prime Minister off at 6:30 in the evening, and we are here right from there. So the topic for the Governing Council meeting was Inclusive Human Development for Vikasit Bharat 2047. And it was about details. The states talked about what they are doing. And mind you, this inclusive human development covers all the 4 stages of life, from childhood to youth to working life to old age. And it covers education, health, employment, welfare, all aspects of life. And it's very important because, as good journalists as you know, a skilled population is the key to success. Some people say that in Japan, during the Tokugawa, after the Tokugawa period in Meiji Restoration, Japan started taking off when literacy reached 40%. And our literacy is above 70% already. So a literate population, a healthy population, a well-educated population is the key to success. So we had long discussions. We benefited from the comments of the chief ministers. I think rather than me holding a monologue, what I'll prefer to do is that you field questions, and what we'll do, as you can see, we are in full strength, and we have experts from different fields. Some questions I may answer myself, otherwise I'll request my wise members to answer them. So over to you.
Thank you, sir. I'll ask all of you the floor is open for questions. Please introduce yourself and your organization's name. So I'll start with 46.
Sir, namaskar. I am Deepak Das. I am from Times of India. You rightly talked about that the NITI Aayog talked about all the 4 stages of life. And the most important stage of life, people come to workplace, that is in cities. Our cities are in very bad shape. Whether we can't walk, the quality of life is bad. So did the NITI Aayog discuss anything about how to improve the cities which are the growth centers?
Can we take 4 or 5 questions together, then reply? Okay. That will be better. 238.
So this is Deepshika from the Economic Times. The meeting was held in the backdrop of what's happening in the West Asia. The crisis has deepened. Were there views expressed on that, how to navigate the crisis going forward, and what kind of measures can be taken at the state level, and how can centre sort of help?
Come again.
The meeting was held in the backdrop of what's happening in the West Asia, the crisis, the conflict is deepening. So in terms of, shielding India's economy, was there any discussion, A, on the impact of the crisis on, with the states? And also, what measures can the states take to shield the Indian economy? And Center, what were the views expressed by Honorable Prime Minister? So on.
54. After that, we will.
So just following up on that question, I'm Dhruvaksh from Business Standard. There also has been a massive impact on states and how they're working because of the West Asia crisis and the kind of fiscal impact that states are expected to see. Did states make any representation for any sort of assistance from the center or anywhere that the center can support, given that their finances will also be impacted significantly due to the crisis?
Okay, sir. We will take next round again. Yeah,
Okay.
Please.
Okay, let me start off and then ask my colleagues to. You asked about rural to urban migration and what is happening. So the chief ministers who deal with this problem day in and day out, one of the chief ministers, I won't name him, he mentioned how you have metropolitan cities, you have the peripheral region, and you have the rural areas. And I think many chief ministers and the Prime Minister talked about disorderly urbanization. I think our leadership, by our leadership I mean the Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers, our governing council, they're fully aware of the fact that we need planned urbanization. And there was talk about industrial parks, which can be plug and play, where you need housing, where you need sewerage system, you need roads, schools, parks, all sorts of facilities. And the chief ministers who spoke with us, they also said that the solution is not in building high rises and then worrying about roads, sewerage, etc. We should plan in advance. About the West Asia, and the other is, the third one was state. What was the third question? Informal support. I will ask my colleagues. Rajiv, you want to add something on this? These last two?
Not on this, but only like to, make it clear, to Deepak's question about urbanization and cities and Deep Shikha about the West Asia situation, that over the last few years, the discussions in the Governing Council have become far more focused. And as a prelude to this, there is the Chief Secretary's Conference. A lot of preparatory work goes on. And therefore, the Governing Council devotes itself primarily to the theme that has been chosen. Everything under the sun doesn't get discussed. So as the Vice Chairman explained in the beginning in his introductory remarks, that the theme of this 11th Council meeting, 11th meeting of the Council, was human development. Again, as a component of the overall Viksit Bharat context. And the Chief Ministers also, by and large, addressed themselves to these issues: health, education, skill development, and so on. Of course, the West Asia situation, etc., is there, at the back of everyone's mind. So it is that context everybody is aware of. So it is there at the back of the mind. But the issues were discussed were primarily the human development. Urbanization, yes, it did came in for discussion. As Mr. Lahiri mentioned, many chief ministers referred to the issue of urbanization, the demographic transition that we are undergoing, and rapid urbanization, and the need to, have planned urbanization. And in that context, I would like to inform you that NITI Aayog has been working with the ministries to prepare, and it was recently released, in fact, at a conference chaired by the Urban Development Minister for, Mahua, and the state ministers, an agenda for transforming urban governance. The planning dimension, the finance dimension, and the governance dimension. So that is the thing about the urban question. I don't think any chief minister specifically asked for any assistance because of the West Asia situation. Yes, there was some discussion about the need for energy security. And in that context, the schemes like Govardhan, etc., they need to expedite implementation of those. Thank you.
I'll just add, if you have seen the Prime Minister's tweets, Kirti, these are Prime Minister's tweets, no? The first tweet of the Prime Minister is, the world is passing through a period of uncertainty and instability, yet India continues to move forwards on its growth trajectory with confidence and determination. Now here, I think I'm paraphrasing what our Governing Council members had in mind, that you can't change the wind, you can only trim your sails. So, West Asia crisis, India is playing its role, our foreign ministry is playing its role, but what we have to do, as we are growing, we're the fastest growing economy in the world, major economies in the world. So what we are doing is, we have to keep doing our homework, and which is actually the human development of human capital. Just because the West Asia crisis is there, we can't be paralyzed. We have to keep doing our work, and that was what is happening. Now, anyone else wants to say anything, add anything on this? Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next third row. Yes, starting with 22, 130, 266 and 127. One by one.
सर मैं शैलेश यादव हूँ सर, ANI न्यूज़ एजेंसी से। सर एक टॉपिक इसमें जो एजेंडा आज था डिस्कशन का, वो प्रोडक्टिव एम्प्लॉयमेंट का था, उसके बारे में अगर आप कुछ एलोबरेट कर सकें, और क्या रोड मैप बना है, क्या डायरेक्शन?
Can't follow. I just speak slightly loudly and slightly slowly.
सर आज की बैठक में एक एजेंडा था प्रोडक्टिव एम्प्लॉयमेंट का, उसके बारे में क्या डिस्कशन हुआ, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर की तरफ से क्या दिशा निर्देश मिले आपको? और दूसरा सर, आप क्योंकि बंगाल से आते हैं और ऐसे समय में आपने जो है नीति आयोग का कार्यभार संभाला है, जब बंगाल में बड़ा बदलाव देखने को मिला है, तो बंगाल के लिए कोई रोड मैप अगर आपके पास हो तो?
130 प्रशांत। आएंगे सबको मिलेगा मौका।
Sir, Prashant Sahu from Financial Express newspaper. So, what are the top 5 or 10 takeaway points from the day-long meeting that happened today? And also, if you could elaborate or share some details about what Prime Minister talked about those actionable points that has been discussed in the meeting today.
Next, sir.
सर मैं तरुण शर्मा हूं जी बिजनेस से। सर मेरे दो सवाल हैं। एक जो राजीव गौबा सर की जो कमेटी है, हाई लेवल कमेटी, उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को लेकर कोई चर्चा आज की गवर्निंग काउंसिल में हुई या नहीं? और दूसरा सर, जिस तरीके से आपने एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी की बात करी, सर एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन क्योंकि जो सोर्स हैं वो काफ़ी बदल रहे हैं, तो उसको लेकर कोई चर्चा आज की गवर्निंग काउंसिल में की गई है?
नेक्स्ट ऋषभ।
Sir, I'm Rishabh with NDTV Profit. A couple of points I want more color on. One is if manufacturing as a topic was taken up in terms of a higher share of GDP is what we are aiming for. Secondly, my colleague also said on energy transition, whether there are plans to shift more and more cities towards the net zero target that we have? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just a second.
पिछले 4 साल से बंगाल की जो तरक्की है वो रुकी पड़ी है और जितने भी गांव में काम होता है जो आम आदमी के लिए काम है वो रुका पड़ा है। अब बंगाल में सरकार बना है तो पहला उनके सरकार के साथ भी आपका नीति आयोग का पहला बैठक है। इससे पहले चीफ मिनिस्टर पहले आते नहीं थे, इस बार पहले आए हैं। उन्होंने क्या क्या मांग किया है, आपने क्या क्या उनको सपोर्ट दिया है?
थैंक यू। थैंक यू सर।
See, the first question about productive employment, the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister spoke a lot about employment. Here, one of the things that is very important is skilling. Sometimes, this is not discussed in the meeting, but if you talk to industrialists, they will complain about the skill set not being available. And as new technology comes, we have to adapt ourselves. We cannot get stuck in 1990s or 2000 technology. As things evolve, we have to get new skills. So that was emphasized. And the other thing that was emphasized in this skill formation is partnership with industry. And I personally, I'm sure my members will also agree, I believe on the skill question there is the demand side, there is the supply side. The institutions like ITIs and engineering colleges, they have this, they're the supply side. But we must know the demand side as well. Industry, what do they want? What kind of skills do they want? So a great collaboration between industry and the skilling institutions is very important. I'll just touch upon 2 other topics. You have asked about West Bengal. This was not a meeting on West Bengal. Okay. I think the Chief Minister of West Bengal, the Honorable Chief Minister, tangentially he mentioned it, that because of the history of West Bengal he may need support. But there was no elaborate discussion on West Bengal. So I'm sorry to disappoint you. There is nothing concrete about West Bengal that I can say, particularly given the fact that I was an MLA from West Bengal until 7th of May. Energy, again I hope I am not preempting my other members. On energy there was a lot of discussion. See, one was that this problem of many chief ministers and Prime Minister talked about it, that there is this question of making energy prices competitive and energy available, reliable energy. And there, one of the things that our governing council members talked about is spreading solar energy on rooftops, in residential building, in schools, hospitals, government buildings, so that the dependence of households on grid electricity is reduced and the subsidy problem becomes manageable. So this was, energy was talked about. There was talk about nuclear energy, because nuclear energy, many of the members said, it's now safe. The nuclear energy has evolved so much that we don't need to be worried about another Chernobyl or what happened in Japan. Those problems are, my colleagues are more knowledgeable about it, they may. So energy it was talked about. And manufacturing, I told you that manufacturing, my sense is, every Chief Minister and Prime Minister, they're very clear that we have to have greater manufacturing. Any other member that wants to add something? Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Abhay?
I think I just wanted to just add to what the Vice Chairman said about the nuclear energy. I think it was also emphasized that after the Shanti Act, the private sector, now has been sort of permitted to go into the nuclear sector, and therefore this could become a very good source of energy, particularly when many of the states are looking for setting up the data centers applications, and there is a lot of investments in the data centers are also coming. So I think, and in terms of manufacturing, I think the Prime Minister did speak about the next generation manufacturing also becoming now important.
Mr. Goba has already mentioned this. There was also talk about Govardhan, which is basically using not only cow dung, but its waste to energy. So there was emphasis on bio-waste to energy to produce that. Anyone else? Balu?
Welcome. Thank you. Now, starting from here, Sapna ji in the front row, and then we'll come here. Then we'll come that
Thank
side.
You,
we'll come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sapna here from CNBC TV 18. Sapna Das from CNBC TV 18. Thank you so much. Just a quick one. Since the human development, the big topic is that, but within that, any kind of specific 3 top futuristic reforms that were discussed, or any feedback from state governments specifically, what they would like from the center along with what they can do? Number 1. Number 2, also my colleagues have asked this question on energy transition, but anything specifically that states have asked for? Because every day you're talking about new fuels coming, or you need new cars to adjust, and then you have this West Asia crisis, there's a lot of impact, you have the petrol diesel prices, changing now and then, you have ATF prices changing, so there's a lot of churn happening on that front. So any specific demand that came in from the state governments or suggestion in terms of India's transition to take it forward, energy transition? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then Pragya ji.
I am Ajit from Radiance Media. There are 2-3 simple questions on human development. One, how much talk did we have, how much discussion did we have on decentralized growth? And then on environment, climate change, say heat and air quality, which are key problems for the cities also and other places. Second was on environment, like heat, air quality, and these climate change issues. And then third was, since decentralized growth is related to rural livelihoods also. So did we discuss on rural livelihoods also? Thank you.
Pragya, 39.
Sir, I'm Pragya from Times Now. Because this is the first meeting of Mr. Vijay as Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, there are several demands that Tamil Nadu, I think, has put in the meeting. Can you just elaborate on them? One thing he has mentioned about some, new education policy, and also some package that he has demanded. And did he speak about releasing of fishermen at all?
24. After that, we'll reply.
Hi, sir. This is Pushpita from New Indian Express. You spoke about that solar energy could be an alternative source of energy for India. Yes, sir. But sir, for a few, there have been reports that mention that in India, distribution has been a challenge. And even there were World Economic Forum reports which suggest that, am I audible? Okay. So you mentioned about that solar energy could be an alternative to address the energy crisis in India. But in India, there have been reports that energy distribution has been a challenge, solar energy distribution. And also there were reports of World Economic Forum that mentioned that clean energy storage in India has also been a challenge. So how do you plan to address that if you think of solar energy as an alternative? Because production has not been an issue in India even before. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right is about specific state demands. As you know, there is a major difference between the Planning Commission, erstwhile Planning Commission and NITI Aayog. We don't distribute money. So these specific demands, the so-called plan allocation of the old days, I won't call it good old days, olden days, it's not within our powers. So our governing council members didn't come with a list of demands that give us this money, that money, none of that. Even if they were saying it indirectly to the Prime Minister and many important members of Council of Ministers who were there. But I didn't hear it. Now, decentralized development. I thought the whole idea about Team India is decentralized. Decentralized because even the Prime Minister made it very clear that there can't be any Vikasit Bharat without Vikasit states. So the whole idea was, I think it was the Prime Minister or Chief Minister of Gujarat who said that Gujarat is growing to make India grow. Any part of India growing means India grows. So decentralization is very important. On air quality, the normal thing that you find about how bad it is and so on, that was not the topic of discussion. The topic of discussion is what can you do about it. So that is where the waste to energy, solar energy, these things came up. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, whom I saw in flesh and blood for the first time, I've seen him in movies and TV, I was very impressed when he said, if I'm quoting him right, that Tamil Nadu wants to grow to a $1.5 trillion economy by 2035. Apart from that, my colleagues will tell you what he asked about. And so I will stop there and ask my colleagues to add in whatever you want to.
Thank you, sir. Sorry. Yes.
As some of you asked for futuristic reforms and decentralized growth, what is interesting, in view of Vikasit Bharat 2047, as Honorable Prime Minister has said, the vision, and now 20 states has developed Vikasit state vision document, and 10 more are in the pipeline. There's a great achievement for this country is coming through. And many chief ministers have mentioned this probably in the next few months. The one which is in the process, they will also release it publicly and submit it. This is number one. Number two, on the thing, one of the interesting assessment done by the Rajiv Gauba's committee on the aspirational blocks, PMDDY districts and district development plans is amazing. There's so much of progress and there is an interesting analysis. Probably this is in the draft stage now and probably they may release later. It was an eye-opener for many chief ministers. On the solar energy you were mentioning to that, there's a lot of improvement. I'm sure many of your own newspapers have followed this on a regular basis in several states. One is widely spread out solar energy panels in the dry lands. Number two, on the floating water panels and the water bodies in the dams, reservoirs, canals, and the rivers. The storage is definitely picking up across the state. Battery storage. Since now that new technology is coming up, large number of private firms is picking up the battery storage based methodology now. So they're realizing there's a peak coming up in the later part of the evening. So they're definitely doing. Even in hydro, they're doing the pump storage mechanisms. They're doing wonderfully well in several states. And a lot of investments is also happening. That's very good to look at that. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, so what Professor Raju mentioned, the aspirational approach, that was discussed in the meeting. Aspirational approach which is at the, which forms the basis for the aspirational district program, followed by the aspirational block program, and another program launched late last year, I think in October, Pradhan Mantri Dhanya Dhanya Yojana, for improving the productivity in 100 districts of the country where productivity is low, credit flow is low, crop intensity is low. So the approach which has been developed by the Prime Minister of collaboration, convergence, competition. So this should be replicated in different areas by the ministries, also by the states. This was explained at length and it came in for, appreciation. To, supplement what Mr. Lahiri has said, and to respond to the question, what was the takeaway? So the most important takeaway from the meeting was the reaffirmation by all states, unanimously, Chief Minister after Chief Minister, the commitment to Viksit Bharat. They all explained what they are doing in terms of the plans or blueprint that they have prepared, and they exuded confidence that they will all contribute to the goal of Viksit Bharat, and all the states are working to a plan. I think that was the most important takeaway. It was not so much about states asking for grants or additional funds, etc. I mean, some of those things were mentioned in passing, but that was not the dominant theme of the discourse.
One effort made by the NITI Aayog, which is now fructifying across the states, is developing a Viksit format, Viksit Bharat for 2047, similarly for a Viksit state for a 2047, the vision document. Now, this documentation, formats and steps was framework given by the NITI Aayog. It's a rare to see when a NITI Aayog, a national think tank, provides this kind of format. Several states have accepted, absorbed it, and they're visualizing this, and they're coming up. Soon, most of them is going to be in the public domain. The one more thing Honorable Prime Minister said towards the end, all states should also develop GDP estimation at the district level. Uttar Pradesh has been doing this for 6 years. He wants, and he appreciating that methodology, saying all states should develop district level GDP estimates at district level so that it helps to see which one are growing and which one are not able to grow for various reasons. That's going to be coming up in the next few months and few years.
I'll just add to the decentralized question.
Let me add something about manufacturing. You asked about manufacturing, and then the Prime Minister made it very clear that ease of doing business is very important. And he made one comment, if I remember right, rapid grievance redressal system is critical in a democracy. And I think that is an important takeaway, that how quickly a grievance is getting redressed. And on aspirational districts, let me add that there was some discussion that we have got 100 aspirational districts. We have got, I'm forgetting the number of aspirational blocks. But we must be alert that are there other districts which have become aspirational? Are there districts which were aspirational before and now they are no longer aspirational, they have graduated? So this dynamic evaluation was highlighted in the meeting. That's a very important point. And let's go for the next round of questions.
add something before that? I think a question which connected rural livelihoods as well as decentralization. Undercurrent of all chief ministers where they were also concerned about decentralizing development within their states. And one chief minister even specifically mentioned what experiment they are trying. The first rung of economy in that state around the state capital was on service-based economy, and now they expanded that to second rung to manufacturing-based economy, and therefore all of the programs related to that economy would be built around it. And now they're building a third circle around it, which actually absorbs the rural livelihoods into it. It's a land and land-based economy. And if this experiment succeeds, it's a sort of a lesson for many of us across the nation to look at how does it work.
Thank you, sir. 54. Dr. Srinivas.
See, fundamentally, somebody said what is the take home. I think the biggest take home is that everybody's talked about the best practices. Somebody says that we have done this, something which is unique, where you can other people can take home and do it. That's what is the essence of cooperative federalism and the competitive federalism of the NITI Aayog. That was very well fitting into the things. And about the vision document, the Viksit Bharat document was done. In fact, there was a lot of discussion on the demographic dividend. How are you going to take up? Elderly care was also discussed, and there was a need, felt need. The people said that, we should be training and upskilling people for the care of the elderly in the years to come. And then, of course, the Honorable Prime Minister also talked about oil and obesity.
Thank you, sir. 54.
So Dhruvak from Business Standard again. One question was since Professor Raju had mentioned the Viksit states.
Mic little far.
Yeah, is this better now, sir? Yeah. So Professor Raju had mentioned on the Viksit state documents. I just wanted to bring this back to both of you, sir, in terms of the Viksit Bharat document was conceptualized some years ago and was expected to come earlier. We've been waiting for, because it is going to have a lot of guidance for a lot of sectors and the long-term roadmap which many have been waiting for. So just some clarity, one, on the Viksit Bharat roadmap document, the larger document that the government was working on. Second question is for Mr. Gauba. Sir, recently at an event, you had spoken about the idea of transforming the processes of the, especially on the ease of doing business front, transforming processes into permitted unless prohibited, which from the current framework of prohibited unless permitted. On that, you had also mentioned that despite the Jan Vishwas legislations, criminalization numbers had not really gone down because a lot of the criminalization prospects remained within state laws. Since this was an appropriate forum of all state chief ministers, I wanted to understand if that was something you pointed out at the meeting or if that was something that was discussed among states, because ease of doing business was a theme that came up from the Prime Minister. So was criminalization and removing those aspects something that you brought up?
214 and then 78, 245.
My name is Maushumi Dasgupta. I am a reporter with The Print. So my question is on the human capital, on education sector particularly. So what were the issues on the education sector that the CMs raised? Did some of the CMs raise the issue of paper leak, the scourge of paper leak, and how do we go about to tackle it? The NEET paper leak, did that came up in the discussion? Also, did the 3-language policy, some of the CMs, did they raise the issue of 3-language policy, which is going to be implemented in schools from, I think, 1st of July? So, related to that. And on West Bengal, I wanted to ask if, what were the issues that the West Bengal Chief Minister raised in the meeting?
Next.
So this is Ravi from the Indian Express. I wanted to inquire if investments were part of the discussion, as in attracting investments, and what were the views and what is your view on the particular investments? Yes.
245.
Sir, Shine Mohan from Madhrubhumi.
Sir, what are the main concerns raised by the chief ministers of the South Indian states, especially from Kerala, and your response to that? So what are the main concerns raised by the chief ministers of the South Indian states, and your response to that?
Southern states. And the last question is,
hello, sir. This is Surya Pillai from the Tribune newspaper. So basically, just a continuation of the question my colleague asked. Basically, this time there were 4 newly sworn-in chief ministers, and out of 4, 3 were from the south. So this is a contrast because last year South skipped the event. This year they were there, and the theme of this year's meeting is inclusive human development. So what was the South's response to, were there suggestions, because the South has performed better on these indices, so were there suggestions from that side, or were there grievances? I mean, whatever it is. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
On Vikasit Bharat 2047, I think now our governing council, including its chairman, Shri Narendra Modi ji, is fully aware of the fact that there is this rule of backward induction. If you want to reach Mumbai on foot a month from now, then you have to plan where you will be on the 29th day, where you will be on the 28th day. So now in Vikasit Bharat, now it's being broken down into medium-term goals, short-term goals. And the Prime Minister has spoken about it. And some of the Chief Ministers have also spoken about it. So Vikasit Bharat is not a distant goal of only 2047. Vikasit Bharat means we have to implement a few things and achieve a few goals by such and such date. So Vikasit Bharat is not just a dream, it's actionable points on various fronts. The second question was on criminalization. Now, I don't think there was any discussion about criminalization or decriminalization of the laws. It's not to say that in NITI Aayog we don't touch upon this topic, but that was not a topic of discussion in this Governing Council meeting. Education, and what was the education in? Three language policy. No, I think the Governing Council members, including those our chief ministers from the south, they know that NITI Aayog does not deal with language policy. So there was no discussion about language policy, and not about the paper leak. Trust me, we had nothing to do with the paper leak. Okay, and it's actually a great matter of satisfaction to us that all the chief ministers came. Perhaps it's a sign of trust and confidence that they have in my members, that they were present, all of them, and they did not bring up any topic on which we can do nothing. So I'm very gratified by their presence and extremely grateful to them for gracing the occasion. On West Bengal also, I must thank the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal. He did not bring up any concrete issue of how, he mentioned this, that West Bengal has got a lot of infirmities because of what he claimed. We are not partisan people, we don't belong to any party, because of rule for 34 years and 15 years by different parties. But he did not make any specific demand. And did I miss anything? Investment. No, investment, I think the main burden of the song of the Governing Council was that you must make India a good business destination by promoting ease of doing business. Ease of doing business was emphasized by the Prime Minister. And here, it's not a matter of just saying ease of doing business. You must go into the nitty-gritties and find out where is it pinching. Where the shoe pinches, you have to find out and take remedial steps. Anyone wants to add anything?
Yeah, ease of doing business, particularly at the city level, cutting edge level, that was emphasized in order to make cities investment destination, attractive investment destinations.
I think two of you asked for southern states. 3 new chief ministers participated. They're very proactive. They very much wanted to go for a Vikasit Bharat document for their state as a vision documents. But some of the new things that they were saying and asking for other states also to follow, look at the elderly care and set up a new departments for elderly care and look for more professional educations, bringing in more private firms, asking for more support for peripheral ring roads on a PPP mode, which they are going to submit in the future. That's it.
Just want to add one on the industrial ease, which the Vice Chairman spoke. Specifically, the Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned that whenever we talk of industry, they deal with the state capitals or with the city urban bodies. So Prime Minister said sometimes they may put up the companies in a peripheral way or in a rural context, and there are different governance structures in rural areas or in small urban local bodies. So he said there should be sort of an integrated approach, and the state should have possibly a mechanism in which the central decision taken actually flows down to every other governance structure that is there. So there's not too many clearances for the companies to run around behind smaller bodies. So it becomes easier for them to set up.
Let me just add a few things. The northeastern states were represented in full strength, and I must report to you that I'm very happy to learn that Mizoram, the Chief Minister, said Mizoram is the first fully literate state. I was very happy to 100% literacy. That's important. And Nagaland talked about, the Chief Minister talked about how coffee, floriculture, spices and herbs are being grown in Nagaland. I was very happy. I'm sure my members were also very happy to hear that. And so I think you have come to the end of your questions. Do you have any more questions? Okay, last question.
All the chief ministers are attending the governing council in last 11 years, sir?
Hi. Is there anyone who is a walking encyclopedia on NITI Aayog?
To our knowledge, yes.
Huh?
To our knowledge, yes.
To Dr. Srinivas's knowledge, yes. So it shows, please don't write in the newspapers, that it shows the power of the new NITI Aayog which has been reconstituted.